Hey, Thorns fans! Great to have you back with us, and you are in for a treat because first-year Thorn Becky Sauerbrunn is in the house. Becky, thanks for joining us. All right, before we get into all kinds of fun stuff, give us an update on the hip injury, rehab, how you're feeling.
Okay, so what's great is that should we ever get to play a game, which I hope very much this weekend, I am available for minutes. I'm not at full game status quite yet. I haven't had enough opportunity to play 11-a-side to be at full 90 minutes, but I'm really excited because my hip is healed. I've been played in quite well. Our athletic trainer, Pierre, really, for lack of a better term, has really kicked my butt back into shape. And so I'm feeling really good and just really excited to be able to actually play more time with Portland Thorns.
Excellent. All right. As we all know, the NWSL Fall Series is underway league-wide, but as you mentioned, chaotic here in the city of Portland and the Northwest. Your schedule has been on hold with air quality issues. By golly, if it's not one thing, it's another. So once again, your club is dealing with some major curveballs. What have the last 8 to 10 days been like for the club in terms of practice indoors, gym workouts, that kind of thing?
So once the air quality got to the point where it was actually hazardous to be outside, they've moved us into different indoor facilities around Portland. And so for the last, I would say, week now, we've been training indoors. So it's back to walls and, small little arena and turf fields. And it's actually been really fun. I grew up playing indoor soccer. And so it kind of is just very nostalgic for me. And it's really actually fun to be in those kind of tight spaces. And we were hoping to be outdoors today, but the air quality is still not quite where it needs to be healthy. And so really it's day by day. We get an email in the morning. It's like, we're training indoors, we're training outdoors.
Wow.
It's been indoors for the last week or so, and we're just going with it. And honestly, like, this could be something that the team takes in a bad way. And everyone's like, oh, why aren't we outside? But really, we've been going after it. Trainings have been really good, high energy. People just really enjoy being around and playing soccer. So although it's like you said, one thing or the other, we're trying to bring a good attitude to it.
Okay, so you yourself personally, as you continue to heal, just to remind fans, you had but the one Challenge Cup match that you were able to play. It was the first one. Then the hip injury shuts things down. I gotta think you're chomping at the bit to get out on the pitch for another game as you continue to acclimate to your new teammates.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I think that one game left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. And so I'm really looking forward to getting back with the team, getting some real minutes, and hopefully playing North Carolina again, because you always want to play North Carolina.
Love that. You obviously have had plenty of experience playing against the Thorns the previous 7 years in the NWSL, quality years with FC Kansas City, and of course with Utah as well. You know what it's like for 20,000 people to be calling for your head at Providence Park. I imagine it's going to be pretty sweet to be getting a lot of love and people calling your name for all the right reasons once you guys get back on the pitch with fans.
I really hope so. There's a part of me that's worried that they're still just going to heckle me. But I don't want to do now. But I have only heard great things, that the supporters are going to be super welcoming. And so that's already has been proven to be true. When my trade went through and I got to become a Portland Thorn player, I got a lot of love and support on social media. And so it'll be great to play in front of, those 20,000 spectators and have them rooting for me and cheering me on instead, like you said, cheering against me, because it's a little intimidating.
You're going to love it. And speaking of that trade that brought you here, it's interesting because you've called Portland home for the last 4 or 5 years in the off season. In fact, there's a quote that said, where you said, the city called to me. What the heck took you so long to get to Portland in terms of playing here? What the heck?
Well, I mean, like I said before, when we were talking about FC Kansas City, that's a team where I kind of grew with them. I was, one of the first people allocated to them, was there for the full 5 years. Really thought we built something strong. And then when Utah took them over, a part of me really wanted to stay with that kind of core group of players. And also Utah asked me to be a part of building something, because they were starting fresh. And so I was one of the first people signed there, and, tried to build something strong. And then 2 years in, and it felt right. And it felt like the right time to try to make my way to Portland. And luckily both sides worked it out somehow. And I am finally here.
Did your mind drift on occasion when you would spend the off seasons here? You know, you love the bookstores, you love the coffee shops, you love the breweries, you love the individual businesses, locally owned and operated. Did your mind ever drift where you might think, this might be kind of fun if I was here playing?
Of course. I mean, my boyfriend's here, so everything that was such a big part of my life and my happiness was in Portland. And then my job and also my passion was playing soccer. So wherever I was, I was there and I was dedicated. But sure, of course, I was being called to Portland. There was so much here that, like you said, was calling to me.
Okay. Soccer fans, I'm one of them, know you as one of the best defenders in the history of women's soccer. Check. You've won 2 World Cups, an Olympic gold, a couple of NWSL titles, NWSL Defender of the Year 4 times. Check. You have, 177 caps, something like that, for the U.S. national team? Something like that. It's over 170, and even serving as captain for country, the highest honor. Check. How on earth do you still have gas in the tank, my friend? The motor is running. The quality of play is as high as ever. What keeps you going?
I think they're just levels within myself that I have not reached or I've touched briefly. And there's an addictive part of that where you just want to explore that and see how far you can take this thing and, what areas of my game can I keep getting better? Because I still feel like there are so many areas that I still need so much work in. And so that sense of waking up every day and having something to accomplish and a set goal to reach, for me, that just keeps me going. And so the game's always changing and players are being asked to evolve and adapt with that game. And so I don't really think my job's ever going to be done. I think someone's going to have to be like, sorry, you're going to have to hang up the boots. Because honestly, I feel like there's just still so much work to be done. And I just want to be able to do that myself, but also to help other people also attain those goals that they want to reach for themselves.
You mentioned the game continuing to evolve. And obviously, if you want to play at the highest level, you've got to do that as well with your own personal game. Help us understand how Becky Sauerbrunn's game has evolved over the years.
Well, I think so much is asked of center backs now and defenders in general about setting play, about being kind of the first attackers. And so I think with me, my game has now become, how can I make this team attack the best way possible? How can I set up other players to be able to have the time and space to turn and do what they do and what makes them special? Okay. And so that's a big part of it. And then I also think for myself, as I've gotten to be more of the veteran status, just the leadership part. I think so much of leadership and confidence and putting people in the right places and communicating, those are things that I feel like you constantly have to work on and really elevate people's game. And so for me, really getting that part of it, which obviously people acknowledge that that's important, but I think as I've gotten older, I've seen it more and more. And the success of a team and especially a backline is so much due to that communication and to being able to organize. And that's something that I've really been trying to work on.
So with the Thorns, with everything you just said, with the Thorns, as you adjust to your new defensive teammates, and you obviously have some very strong leaders on this club as well. You don't want to defer because you are that type of leader. How do you massage the relationships, the leadership, voice, that kind of thing with this brand new team?
Yeah, I think so much of that is collaboration. And you're right. We have such amazing, strong leaders throughout this team. You've got Sinke, you've got Lindsay, you've got Menges, you've got Klingenberg. And so it's really not in any way trying to outdo what they're doing. It's just me, like you said, massaging and finding my ways to help booster them and to just bolster the whole group. And so a lot of it is just talking through things and how we want the back line to look or how we want the team to attack or defend. And if there are areas that I have, more experience in, then that's where I'll get to shine a little bit. And so for me personally, I think a big part of what I think Mark liked in my game is that when we're attacking, I'm very much a defender that's looking at, okay, well, we need to be ready to defend if we lose this ball. And so countermeasures for me is kind of a thing that I really have felt that I've been able to bring to the group and to help organize and make people aware of.
Okay, are you ready for some fun little personal nuggets and anecdotes that you're going to share with the viewers and listeners?
Oh, so ready.
Good girl. Okay. The personal letter from notorious RBG. Okay, so Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, back in March of 2019, you have a little moment with her. Can you share some thoughts and feelings about what transpired with that letter?
Oh, well, just a little tidbit to make my way into that.
Yes, please.
We were playing on the national team in the She Believes tournament, and they wanted to have this kind of exercise where players wore the names of women that inspire them on the back of their jerseys. And so for me, I chose RBG. And what I didn't know is that the team was actually sending those jerseys to those people.
Cool.
And so I get a letter in Utah, and I open it and I see the letterhead of the Supreme Court. I'm like, oh man, I'm in a lot of trouble.
Now what did I do?
And it's a typed up letter from Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she has this really cute message at the end where she's like, I'll wear this jersey when I'm doing my like biweekly workouts to keep me healthy. And it was a really nice touch. And obviously getting anything from RBG is just a huge honor. And I mean, everything that she's done and fought for, and to take the time just to send a letter to a soccer player that was wearing her jersey, it meant a lot to me.
Please tell me you still have that letter, Becky.
Absolutely.
Atta girl. Okay, that's got to go in the vault because, and I've seen video of Notorious working out. So if she's wearing your jersey, she's sweating in it. I'm telling you.
What an honor.
Okay, you're an avid reader and voracious reader, loving the fantasy and sci-fi genre. You just read aloud this book. Yeah, one of my favorites, by the way, for all the little kiddos out there. I read somewhere where you said that reading gets me out of the grind, where I can find a moment of peace. You said reading allows me to be my best the next day on the pitch. So reading makes you a better soccer player?
I would 100% agree with that. I think.
What?
For me, I'm so analytical and I self-analyze, and I can just get stuck in just thinking back on every single play that I did something good or something bad in. And so for me to be my best that next day, I kind of need to recharge the batteries. And I use reading as kind of that escape, but I also find reading to be really enriching. And so I'm not only just getting away from things, I'm also learning and feeling different things. And so I bring that freshness and enrichment into that next day. So I'm ready to go.
Let the wild rumpus begin, baby. Okay. Let's talk about probably the one and only time that you were told you are not a team player.
Oh, no. Wow.
Let's go back a few decades. Let's see if the memories are starting to click, synapses firing. Something to do with your flute playing days. Can you please share with us that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, wow, you really went back in the archives for that one.
Yeah, I did.
So back in high school, I played the flute. So I was in band, and we were actually a very good band, and we were like scheduled to go on some sort of I don't remember where we were going, maybe Tennessee or something, but we were going to go to a competition. And I unfortunately had a U19 training camp scheduled for the same time. And so I picked the soccer camp to go to, obviously, but had to tell my director that I was foregoing the band trip to play in this training camp. And he basically said that I wasn't a team player and didn't really have a future in soccer, which looking back now was not a very good take from him. But
swing and a miss, pal. Yep.
Yeah, but not being called a team player, I was just like, wow. I mean, I play the flute, so you don't really hear me most of the time anyway. I'm one of the last chairs in the band in general, so you really don't hear me very often. But it all worked out. I think I think the band did fine without me.
A good choice. You picked it right. Have you ever been told that since that you can recall? Come on.
I think that's maybe one of the rare things that I have never been called is I am not a team player. I think most people know that I would pretty much do anything for any team that I'm on.
Unbelievable. Well, that one, I was chuckling at that one. Thank you for getting us up to speed. Okay, we had the good fortune of talking with your teammate and Thorns rookie Sophia Smith recently, and she remembers vividly and fondly the time that you and she were roommates while she was with the U.S. Women's National Team at a training camp. She was probably 16 or 17. You were in your early 30s, something like that. Her goal now is, of course, to make the national team. That was your goal when she was that age. But your journey, obviously, hasn't been without some adversity, some rejection. So what do you tell a player like Sophia, the young women coming, who may encounter some similar obstacles?
Yeah, I would say that everybody's journey is so different. And there are going to be some people that, right in college, just go right to the national team and they're going to be there for years. And then there's going to be others who are going to be there for a few games and then out in the wilderness for 2, 3, 4 years. And so really you have to appreciate the journey and you have to kind of ride those highs and those lows and try to stay and find consistency. And then I would also say that you never know who's watching. And so whether it's just a training or it's a game or it's a closed door match, there are eyes watching. So you need to be ready at any moment and you need to be playing as best as you can at any moment because you just never know when an opportunity is going to arise and you need to make the most of your opportunities. It's all about the opportunities and making the most because they are rare, but they are precious and you need to capitalize.
I'm hoping that the Sophias and the Morgan Weavers and some of the younger players on your club have your brain to pick, as well as the other veterans that you mentioned. Obviously, Sinky comes right to mind, Kling, but the wealth of experience and the miles of experience that you bring, that's pretty special stuff. And I know you're ready to say, I'm here for you.
Pick it all.
Yeah, pick it all. All right, Becky, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Thank you so much. And obviously, we're excited to get you back on the pitch. Good health to you. Be safe, mask up, and good luck to you guys when you get back to the fall series. And thanks again for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cheers.